Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China with Michael and Kinney, and we're going to talk about women's self-defense techniques. Now, a bunch of people have asked me on the internet, please review this person's self-defense or that person's self-defense and see if it's realistic or not. And what generally tends to happen is it's something like this here. They grab the girl's wrist and then she does some technique to escape the wrist grab, or they do the two-handed choke like this and then the girl does something to escape, or they do the bear hug like this and then they do something to escape. And the techniques may or may not work, but here's my big issue with those situations. It's this. How often in a fight has somebody attacked you like this, Michael? Has this ever happened to you?
No.
No. Kinney, has anybody just walked up to you, grabbed your wrist, and stood there like this?
My boyfriend?
Okay. And that probably wasn't a violent assault, I'm guessing? I hope not?
Uh-huh.
Okay. How often does this happen to you in your day-to-day life?
Maybe one time.
Maybe, okay, one time. How about this? Has this ever happened to you?
Every time? Every day?
Every day?
Yeah, with my boyfriend. It's very normal, you know.
All right, you guys have a very, very specific type of relationship. All right, and there's this one, which in combat sports, this is a big deal. You can do some crazy stuff, like lift them up and drop them and arm bar them and that sort of thing. You can suplex them. That's actually a good position, okay? But the problem is, how many women's self-defense videos have you seen? Here, grab me from behind, where they teach you some convoluted nonsense like pinch his elbow, poke him in the knee, and then he's going to magically let go, man, let go. Come. You're supposed to cooperate, man. Here, try that again. Poke him in the elbow, pinch him in the knee, let go. And okay, you've probably seen some nonsense like that many, many times. So the video I want to review today, somebody showed this. You're grabbed by the wrist, and then you do a side kick. Here, side kick me, Kinney. That's a round kick. Side kick. Boom, like that. Okay. And that can work if she side kicks me really hard. Here, kick me hard. Oh, okay. That can absolutely work. But the situation is, has a stranger, someone you didn't know, not your boyfriend, someone you didn't know walk up and grab you like this on the street. Does this ever happen?
Nope.
Now, I'm not saying this will never happen, but okay, if somebody wants to control you, they're probably going to do a little bit more than this. They're probably going to grab you with two hands. They're probably going to pull you. They're probably going to grab this. They're probably going to start dragging, right? As opposed to just, here, let me allow you to have as much time as you want to escape. It totally works. All right, so what I want to do today is have you guys practice these scenarios without teaching you any moves in advance and see how you deal with them just using your natural human instincts. All right? So, Michael, what you're going to do is grab Kinney by the wrist. Kinney, I want you to just get out of it, however you want. All right, ready? Go.
Jesus Maria.
Okay. That seemed to work. Let's try the two-handed choke right here. Here, give it a try. Okay. Whatever you want to do to get out. Now, one thing I noticed right away is that Michael keeps coming, Kinney keeps fighting back. It's an ongoing scenario. There's no one magic move that's getting her out of there, because he's coming and he's coming and he keeps coming. Like, if he wants to strangle her, he's going to keep trying until she gives him a good reason to stop. Whereas most self-defense videos teach you, like, chop the arms, and the guy stands there and then you're gone, right? Okay. Let's try the bear hug from behind. Here, grab Kinney from behind. Kinney, do whatever you want to get out. Ready? And go. So again, we have Kinney trying to peel the fingers off. And some people, you can argue all day about whether or not this will or won't work, but what we have is a dynamic scenario, right? I've heard so many people arguing on the internet, well, you can just peel the fingers off. And then people are like, well, if you have a really strong guy, then he'll just lift you up before you can peel them off. The fact of the matter is you don't know until you try. That's one of the reasons why we're going to try this stuff over and over again. Here, let's try it again. Wrist grab, can you try something else? Just whatever comes to mind.
Wrist grab?
Yeah, grab the wrist. Can you get out of there? You might notice this is a slightly different scenario because now Kinney's pushed up against a barrier, up against the ropes. Now we have two hands involved. Now Michael's got his body weight in there. He's going 2-on-1. It's a much more dynamic situation. Now he's got the deadly bear hug from behind, right? And now it's a whole different scenario. So you see those one-step self-defense situations and then you walk away. They're simply not realistic scenarios to begin with. And that's one of my big complaints about the self-defense industry is that they teach you, here, do the two-handed rape choke on me. Do step 1, do step 2, do step 3, and then walk away. Except you'll notice his hands are still there, right? His hands are totally still there. Now we can follow a few basic principles, like he's got my neck, right? I can pummel to the inside, take some pressure off, right? I can bring up knees or whatever. I can counter strike. I can chuck that off, push, make space. But he won't stay still like he just did right there. He'll be fighting back. I move here. Now we're in a clinch battle, right? Now we're pummeling. Now we're blocking. Now we're both striking. And as soon as I throw a punch, now he knows this isn't just grappling. Now this is serious. Boom. Now he's probably going to throw punches back at me. And now we're in a fist fight. And that's another thing that these self-defense videos tend to ignore is the fact that as soon as you hit another person, their tendency is to punch you back. I mean, Kinney, if somebody hits you, what's your instinct?
Ow.
Ow, right? Did you like that?
No.
No, right? What do you want to do?
I'm gonna begging for don't kill me. Or
Okay, yeah,
run away.
You'll notice there are several different layers of complexity to human responses. She said, maybe she'll beg, maybe she'll run away, right? That's her specific psychology. If I walk up and I hit you and I push you, what's your response?
Kick you in the ass.
Fight back, right? So everybody's different. There's no one pre-programmed response, like if I do this, he'll respond that way. No, right? Maybe he does the two-handed choke, and I saw a women's self-defense video that said, do a bolo punch, boom, and that'll knock him out. It'll hit him right in the liver. But what if it doesn't? Boom, now I've just started a fist fight. I've just hit him, and he's in a better position to hit me back in the face if he wants, because his hands are right here. Go ahead, boom, all right? So we have to be aware of the fact that if we hit someone, we've just started a fight effectively. And you might think, well, he started the fight because he laid hands on me. That's true, that's legally true, okay? But I've just escalated the level of violence. And if you're going to escalate the level of violence, you have to be prepared to fight at that level of violence, okay? So I receive a lot of criticism when I make these responses to women's self-defense videos on the internet, because when I show something like, this silly technique doesn't work, here, grab my wrist. Like there was this one where the girl shows like, do this and walk around like that, and then you'll magically be out and hiya, or whatever, okay? Here, Michael, grab my wrist. Okay, and notice he didn't even use one hand. He was supposed to use just one. You can't dictate what he does. You can't, right? It's like, hey, mugger who just randomly attacked me on the street. You're only supposed to use one hand, not two. Okay, good, now I can use my special move, okay? And then, are you just gonna wait there while I do this silly little swing dance move? No, here, do what you would do in a real fight. Okay, I've just given him my back. How dumb was that, right? Okay. So what we need to do is look at the way violence really happens. And I would show it on this YouTube video, except that they would not only demonetize this video, but block my channel from YouTube for too much violence, because YouTube doesn't like reality. It doesn't, right? If you show the reality of violence, your channel gets taken down. But man, I did this study on the way real fights go down, and the very first real altercation I looked up, right? There's a convenience store. This crazy woman with an axe walks in the convenience store and just starts hacking people. All right, what women's self-defense video prepares you for that situation? I've never seen one, ever. Right? The second video I look at, some guy runs up, grabs this guy's hair and throws him on the ground. Right? And a lot of people say, well, if somebody grabs your hair, then you just do this, this, and this, right? If I stand here and grab Michael's hair like this, of course, he can figure a way out of here because I'm not moving him, I'm not doing anything. Here, get out of there. Oh, it totally works, right? But imagine I grab this and I start pulling and moving. Yeah, he doesn't like that at all. It moves him, and I'm not even using really any force, right? But he has to move because it's connected to his head, right? And if I grab Kenny, she has even more hair. I grab this ponytail. Essentially, she's got to move, right? And she can't just hi-ya her way out, right? It's a much more dynamic situation. So study real violence. Take a look at how it really plays out. If you're wondering if these, I don't know, YouTube senseis, self-defense experts you see on the internet are legit or not, just look at the way real violence plays out and see if they're actually preparing you for those types of scenarios as opposed to grab the wrist, defend the two-handed choke, deadly bear hug from behind, right? Got a question for you guys. What kind of real violence have you encountered in your real lives? A little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like what kind?
Some fist fights, some grappling.
Hold on, talking to the microphone.
Some fist fights and some grappling.
Okay, fist fights and some grappling.
Yeah. Because always when the fight starts, one fist is landing, and then we got some grappling, or the opponent catch me or something.
Yeah.
Like this.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that some basic boxing, some basic hand fighting, some basic clinch fighting is probably going to prepare you a lot better for self-defense than, say,
of course,
grab the wrist, defend the two-handed choke, etc. Right? How about you, Kenny? What kind of real violence have you experienced?
Not for me, but I think to a girl.
Okay.
Like rape is the most violent thing.
Absolutely.
It's most common.
Absolutely. How often do you think that starts with this?
No, I don't think so. The most, the most bad guy, they will first like slap you and grab your hair, make you on the ground and kick you, make you unconscious, and then they will do bad things.
I don't know if you heard that because I got a clip on my. Could you say that one more time?
They won't grab your wrist first at first time. They will slap you and grab your hair, make you on the ground and kick you, make you very afraid and or like unconscious, and then they will do bad things to you.
Okay, and that's really important to understand how that type of violence happens. First, it's not just violent, it's demoralizing. Somebody slaps you, they hurt you immediately, they take the fight out of you. I mean, fights, like sport fights, are won based on three things. Really, all sports are won based on three things. The triad of performance, right? Physiology, psychology, and specificity. That's, your athleticism, your aggressiveness, your technique, right? And the psychology, that's your aggressiveness, your mindset, your heart, where your mind is, and all of that. If you get ready to fight, like before, we did a bunch of sparring today, right? Before each round, how are you feeling? You're probably feeling ready to, trade some gloves, right? Trade some punches. You're probably feeling pretty psyched up, pretty ready to spar, right?
I was prepared.
Yeah, right? But somebody just walks up on the street, cold cocks you, boom, you're not expecting it. Suddenly you're in a fight you weren't even planning on. How do you feel then?
Afraid?
Yeah, afraid, terrified. Somebody walks up, somebody bigger, stronger than you, slaps you across the face. How are you feeling now?
Afraid, really afraid.
Yeah, really afraid. Man, when was it? Mike Tyson, fairly recently, he went on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he said something that shocked a lot of people. He said, back in his prime, there were a lot of guys in the gym who were better than him, who were better boxers, who could beat him in the gym on any day. And this surprised a lot of people, because back then Mike Tyson was one of the best in the world. And he was saying these guys in the gym you've never heard of were better boxers. But when he got in the ring, he was better at the psychology of it. He was better at performing under the lights with people cheering and booing and eating popcorn and drinking beer and all that stuff the other people couldn't handle, right? And that's just one thing, right? Being able to handle performance anxiety, but to be able to handle surprise demoralization. Somebody walks up and slaps you, throws you on the ground. Before you understand what's even happening, you're on the ground, you're hurt, and you're demoralized. Yeah, it's a far cry from this. Anyway, just saying, not only practice the techniques you plan to use in a fight, not only test techniques out in the gym, but be observant of the way real violence happens in real life if you want to understand how to defend yourself from it. Okay? Because if the reality is, let's say maybe I'm attacked, Kinney's a giant person twice my size, she slaps me in the face, I'm not even expecting it, boom, she grabs me by my imaginary hair, boom, throws me on the floor, and by the time the fight starts happening, she's already on top of me, she's already doing damage, and I'm already on the defensive, right? So sometimes we just have, it kind of sounds like I'm saying take a jiu-jitsu class, because that will address that specific scenario, but it's more than just specific scenarios, it's specific mindsets that we're going to find ourselves in. Prepare yourselves for that. Be honest about your training. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.